Welcome to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Each week, we set the table for a discussion about recipes and stories from the authors of Joy of Cooking. We talk kitchen victories and misadventures and what we are cooking and eating right now. Thanks for joining us at the table today. I'm Sarah Marshall, producer of this podcast and Marshall's Hot Sauce owner, and I'm back from San Diego, where I ate all the tacos and avocados I could possibly cram in.
I'm Megan Scott, co-author of the 2019 edition of The Joy of Cooking. I'm a food editor by day and avoider of dish duty by night, and I've entered my half-calf era. Sad.
Just in the afternoons. You're full
it's
calf
true. It's true.
like in the morning. I'm John Becker, fourth-generation co-author and steward of The Joy of Cooking, America's oldest family-run cookbook. And this week, I am reaching for the jar of chili flakes a lot more than my pepper grinder for some reason. I don't know.
Well, you gassed both of us this morning with your pepper flakes. I came into the kitchen and just started sneezing. I was like, what's going on in here?
I feel like that was the pepper flake people. There was maybe a too fine of a grind on it or something. Like there were definitely flakes, but there was also a little bit of atomized, fine particles that were making their way into the.
I noticed.
Yes.
That's what happens when we make volcano sparkle. I think everyone down our street sneezes at the same time because it's definitely in the air.
Yeah, no, that volcano sparkle is serious business. Do you want to describe that for listeners? I don't know if we've talked about it on the show.
Oh, it's just all my favorite spicy chilies ground into a powder. So we dry the peppers. So it's got like ghost peppers and scorpion peppers and Calabrian chilies, pretty much everything that I like. And it's so hot and so good. But because we powder it ourselves, it's like we do it with a Vitamix. So we put a towel over the top, but it still just like gets everywhere. And it's like we wear goggles, we wear gloves. Dirk sometimes takes a picture of me when I'm doing it because I look like a mad scientist,
Yeah, it also has like a little citric acid and salt, right?
It does.
Like,
just because I feel like it makes the pepper flavor pop more.
Yeah. No, it's so good.
What was it you were talking about wanting to use it on?
Oh,
recently?
yeah. The ranch firecrackers.
Oh, yeah, the firecrackers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys left those here last time. I wasn't here when you brought them over, but then I saw them on the counter and I was like, Dirk, what are these? And he's like, John made them. They're these crackers that are like his specialty. And I like pretty much just shoved them all into my mouth. They're so good.
But they would be great with the volcano sparkle, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was Anna Hazel's recipe, so definitely not my specialty, but they are delicious. And I will be making more of them for sure.
Yeah, feel free to bring them over anytime. I'll give you some volcano sparkle to experiment with.
Nice.
Because I think that'd be rad.
Yeah, serving that at a party would produce some surprises, I bet.
Yeah, you'd have to put a little warning.
What was your highlight of your trip to San Diego, Sarah?
Well, I mean, for sure, I said tacos and avocados because I think being in Oregon, I have a really hard time finding avocados. I don't know if that's true for you guys, but I can't ever find good ones. Like I'm one of those people that buys a whole bag and you just open them up and they're all brown and stringy.
I know.
It's
It's hard. There's such a narrow window.
Yeah, it's really hard here, and especially during this time of year. So when I go down there, we usually go in the winter and our winter, but it's like it's summer there. It's Oregon summer there. It's like 72, 73 degrees. You go to the farmer's market, there's like berries, there's avocados, there's citrus. So I try to eat as many avocados as I can. And they're so good. And you like buy them from the farmer's market. Like
That's amazing.
we can't do that.
I am jealous of that. I'm not jealous of much because I feel like our food is really good here and the produce is amazing.
For
But
sure,
yeah,
100%.
avocados, that's one
But
area.
it's wild. It's wild to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me how much they cost. I just don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't. So I definitely do that. I stop at every, when I'm in New York, I stop at every like pizza slice shop and eat the pizza. Well, that's what I do at San Diego. I stop at every like taco stand. I'm like, I could definitely cram one more taco in just to try it, So I did that.
What's your taco order? What do you get?
I always get the carnitas because at home I don't like refry that meat,
Yeah.
And so like when other people do that for you, it feels like it's not as naughty to eat it. so that's what I get kind of everywhere. That's like my street taco order. So I had like a million of those everywhere. But then also in San Diego, they make a lot of the sopas, like with the, where it's kind of like this little dish of masa, but they'll do like the different color style where it'll be like dark on one side, light on another side, and then it holds all the goodies inside. So I got a lot of those as well.
That's one of our favorites to make at home because I don't know, we're not experts at making tortillas. We try, but the sopes are a little easier because they're just a little thicker and you don't have to be as
Yeah.
skilled maybe. Maybe someone would disagree, but
Well,
they're a
yeah,
bit
and
easier.
yeah, when we bring like fresh mozza home, which, we don't do often enough, but it's almost like it's just ready to go,
Yeah.
ready
You
to make
just
the
mold it.
sopes.
It's like, and it's a little bit like playing with Play-Doh. It's very
Yeah.
satisfying.
Well, and it's like it's the perfect, even though like a taco is a street food, they do get kind of like soggy and messy. You have to like eat it so fast, but they're like little bowls. And so you can just like stand there and enjoy it
Chow
a little
down.
bit. Yeah, a little bit more. And then we also have this favorite restaurant group in San Diego called Consortium Holdings. They open all these what we call adult Disneyland restaurants where they're super fancy and they decorate really nicely, but they also have really great food. So we went to a bunch of those places. And then there's another restaurant that I love called Wolf in the Woods that does, you guys would love it. They do like Santa Fe, New Mexico. They have like the chili peppers hanging everywhere. And they have this soup that's like corn and pine nuts.
Ooh.
That's like kind of what they're known for. And then everything has like chili butter and, all these different kinds of roasted hatch peppers. And they do like sopapilla with roasted pork in like the red chili sauce. And so every time we go to San Diego, we go there.
I wonder if like the corn that they're using in that soup is the Chicos? Yeah, the smoke-dried corn.
I'm not sure.
Does that kind of have a vaguely smoky flavor to it?
Yeah, it's so good. I recommend anyone goes there. It's a beautiful little tiny, it's just a neighborhood restaurant, but it's so nice. And then we had a new discovery, which is called Carne and Hueso. And it's where they just opened. They're brand new. Lovely couple owns it. And I had this really fun drink that was vodka infused with Parmesan and an arugula cordial.
Whoa.
Really cool and really wild, but it was completely clear. So it's like, you feel like you're going to drink like straight vodka, but then it tastes sort of like
A salad?
a salad. So I was
cool.
really into it. Yeah, and they do like a lot of, whole animal meat.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good. So recommend all of those
There
things.
should be more savory cocktails.
Yeah, I dig a savory
love
cocktail.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
What about you, John? What's on your mind this week that
We have.
that we have been cooking?
I know. Sorry, I didn't cook anything. I was on vacay.
We did it. I wouldn't say a test. It was more of a reconfirmation that Arroz Con Pollo is really good, and it happens to be very good with half a pound of chorizo in it. So that was delicious. And then, of course, we made the recipe of the week, or I guess every
Yeah.
two weeks now.
A bi-weekly recipe?
Bi-weekly recipe. The Freekeh with greens, chickpeas, and halloumi. Do you know have a page number?
Oh, yeah, that's on page 338. And the recipe title is Freekeh with greens, chickpeas, and halloumi. And it was nice. We hadn't made that recipe in a long time. And it was a good confirmation that, this is a great recipe. I mean,
I remember being excited about it, like, a long time ago. And it was nice to, revisit it and be like, yes, that is indeed how I should have felt about this recipe.
and we were making it on the same night as Shannon decided to make it. And I'm sorry, I wish she could be here to talk about it because she really liked it as well. But we were kind of trading notes because the Freekeh that we bought, first of all, I wish we could show the packaging somehow because it had the best, most awesome packaging, like of a person kind of, I don't know if they were winnowing or sifting, or they had the Freekeh in a big basket looking thing in a beautiful green field under a blue sky. It was like very evocative and
Made you want to be
gorgeous. Yeah, you kind of want to be there. But the Freekeh that we bought, we never encountered this before, had almost like soot on it because they smoke. It's like dried over a fire, and so it's got a little bit of smoky flavor. But we ended up having to rinse the Freekeh to get all that extra soot off. But the end result was very delicious.
Yeah.
And all that the browned halloumi, and we used collard greens instead of kale or chard.
Was that a recipe that you guys added to the book?
Yeah.
Last time.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it. I wasn't here to know that was the recipe of the week. But
Yeah.
I'll be a week behind, but I'm going to make it.
Need to work on our communication, I guess.
Yeah. And it's mandarin quat season, which is my favorite citrus fruit. And yeah, been eating them. They're kind of like, I don't know, they're like grown up warheads because they're so sour, but they're so delicious. And that tender, thin skin, you can just eat the whole fruit because it's like a kumquat in that way, but it's bigger because it's crossed with the mandarin.
Yeah, it's like a 3-bite kumquat or
Yeah.
4-bite, I don't know, something like that.
And you eat the whole thing.
You
like
eat the whole
peel.
thing. Yeah. And the peel is the sweet part and the inside is sour.
Yeah.
The seeds are somewhat substantial, so you
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
seedy.
you got to watch out for that. That is the only downside over the kumquat, in my opinion.
Sure. They have seeds.
Whatever.
I know because I have made this. It's a great, it's called kumquat compote. That's a mouthful. But you have to thinly slice them and remove all the seeds. And you basically have to use like the tip of a chopstick to get in there and prise
Pop 'em
all
out.
the seeds out, but also very good. Hey, Joy of Cooking listeners, did you know the same family that taught America how to cook also taught California how to make world-class Chardonnay? The same joy and passion for life that inspired Irma Rombauer to write The Joy of Cooking inspired her great-nephew, Kerner Rombauer, to establish Rombauer Vineyards. Founded in 1980 in the Napa Valley, Rombauer has been producing acclaimed wines from California ever since. While they're famous for their iconic California Chardonnay, Rombauer crafts a diverse collection of delicious wines that bring joy to your table. Ready to taste the legacy? Visit rombauer.com/joy or use code JOYPOD, all caps, for 15% off your order. That's ROMBAUER.com/joy or code JOYPOD, all caps.
Must be 21 to enjoy.
This week, we would like to welcome Sheryl Kesey Thompson to the table. Sheryl is a second-generation co-owner of Springfield Creamery, the family-run company behind Nancy's Probiotic Foods in Eugene, Oregon. As VP of Marketing, Sheryl spends her days working alongside multiple generations of her family, which makes each day delightfully entertaining. She is passionate about carrying on Nancy's legacy of bringing healthy, probiotic-rich food to as many people as possible. Whether it's supporting the local Eugene community or connecting with customers across the country, Sheryl believes a simple container of yogurt can make a difference. Sheryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
What were you cooking and eating this week that you're most excited about?
What was I cooking and eating this week? We traveled the end of last week and over the weekend to Atlanta to a football game of all things. So there was definitely a lot of fun eating out and Southern food, and I think my husband ate multiple fried chicken sandwiches at every stop. I ate a couple chopped salads.
Nice.
This week, we seem to be on a Brussels sprouts kick. There's always that reverse engineering when we go out. We always will often choose a starter of Brussels sprouts if it's available. And then we reverse engineer them at our table. It's like, this one's crispy. This one must be, air fried, or does this one have soy sauce? So we had a couple Brussels sprout episodes at our house this week, and we're getting better at it.
Nice. What's your current method? Are you an air fryer person?
I'm not an air fryer.
Okay.
Our kids all have air fryers. Yeah, pan fry, and with a lot of olive oil, cut them in half, and put the lid on, and just let them sit there so that they can steam within their own juices, and they end up getting crispy and tender, but not overdone that way. I mean, I like a reduced balsamic vinegar on them and just give them a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of nice color. And then I think toppings are all key. This week we put blue cheese, pumpkin seeds, and dried cherries on top.
Oh, that sounds so good.
So it felt kind of holiday-like, but it's all the things we love. So
Pomegranate seeds are also really great.
pomegranate seeds are a great idea. I'm going to take note of that. Yeah.
Do you ever break out a deep pan or a wok to actually do the deep fried Brussels sprouts that seem to be on every restaurant menu for several years? Or, I mean, I really enjoy those.
Yeah. No, I've never done that, but yeah, I should play with some different pans. Oh, that's a great idea.
It's always more fun to order the fried Brussels sprouts than to actually make
right?
them. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And we always order them, and I always think, I could do this,
Yeah.
but it's never quite right. They have some secret sauce there that always works no matter where you are. Yeah. So fun.
Yeah, I feel like I grew up with Brussels sprouts that were not very good because they were very, very softly cooked.
My mother, a really good cook, but yeah, she would steam them too long. Like I had to be reintroduced to them at
Yeah. Didn't they also breed Brussels sprouts in, fairly recent years, meaning like the last 50 years, to be less bitter?
yeah, apparently. Yeah, they used to be a
That
lot.
makes sense. Because I think like the people, our parents' generation, all talk about how terrible they are.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, just try them again. Like Dirk's
Yeah, I think they're
parents, we had
different
to
now.
reintroduce them to them because she was like, no, they're bitter and gross. And I'm like, no, let's try them one more time. And she likes them now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's wild what a simple change of cooking method can do for them as well. Cheryl, something we ask all of our guests, what is your relationship to the joy of cooking?
I'm sure that I have a similar relationship as all of your guests. There's that core memory of childhood where there was the blue Joy of Cooking book, on my mom's shelf. And I think that, those relationships and those memories are so fond in everybody's little memory bank. And so, yeah, I have my mom's 1953 copyright, I think, Joy of Cooking cookbook with a spine that's falling apart and vanilla all over and little marks. And there's little sticky notes in there. And one of them is it's a zucchini and turnip page. And I even
Okay.
asked my mom before she passed away, I said, why is the sticky note in here? And she said, I don't know. We must have had a lot of zucchini, which didn't make sense. But I thought about it later, and we do CSA veggies in the summer. And I think there was a lot of turnips. And because
Yeah.
I remember her calling me saying, what are these things and how do I cook them? So, the Joy of Cooking book is always that comfortable thing to return to, and memories of childhood. My mom has little Christmas cookies and sweet little cookies X'd and marked in there that are favorites. And I actually had a serendipitous Joy of Cooking moment a month or so ago. Actually, we had friends that came in from out of town for my dad's memorial service. And we were preparing the day before, and they were helping me with these flower arrangements. And it's friends that had been roommates like 50 years ago. And so they were bantering back and forth as we were doing flowers. And one of them said to the other, well, and then when you left, you took my Joy of Cooking book. And she said, well, I needed the recipe. And so it perked my ears. And I said, wait, what recipe did you need? She said, oh, it's this cookie recipe that I couldn't stop thinking about. And I said, well, what was it? She said, I can't remember the name of it, but when I get home, I'll send it to you. I'm like, okay. So a couple of weeks later, she sent me this picture of this text picture, and it was the Flourless Nut Balls.
Flourless
Yeah.
nut balls. We are familiar with this recipe.
So I had her text message, and it wasn't in my version. And so I had her text. I'm like, I have to make these. I mean, this is like a full circle moment. So I've made them twice now. And it is funny because you continue to think about them. The flavor is so good. They look like you're serving meatballs, kind of. But I've decided that the lovely trick for me is that you just heat them up a little bit in the microwave, and they're
Oh.
soft, and have a little cup of tea with them. But yeah, so that was my serendipitous Joy of Cooking moment recently.
Nice. I love that.
Are those
Well,
not in the new version?
Oh, it's still there?
Are they still there?
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Well, now that
I'm not sure.
John's gonna have to look it up.
I feel like this
I know.
was this.
I didn't find it in my old version.
I feel like this is a recipe that somebody on book tour even told us. They were like, this recipe that I love is not in this new edition.
Oh,
and yeah, people were
no.
already taking us to task.
Yeah. Well, if it's
things.
not in
looked at
there,
it.
you have to add it back in.
I looked for it in the new edition, but the new edition is a hefty edition. You guys
is
should
hefty.
be congratulated on that breadth of work.
Well, thank you.
that's what we were aiming for.
Yeah, that's great.
We
You
it was
got
like
it.
this isn't hefty enough. Yeah. Okay.
You didn't find it.
I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we just need to rebrand it a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. We
Like-
need to workshop the name.
I think
maybe.
flourless nut balls is maybe not the thing. Like I'm sure it is delicious, but we just got to like zhuzh it up a
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
I would agree.
And you said it was not in your 1953 edition?
I looked at it. I mean,
That,
I looked from the index and I tried to reference it, but
that wouldn't surprise me because, Marion was very aware of people who were trying to avoid gluten and,
gluten.
people who had food allergies. So that's not surprising at
I'm
all.
going to have to go back and search. There's so much love in this book as I go through it.
Yeah, I love those old inherited editions that have just the markings and,
Totally.
asterisks and folded down pages. Yeah, it's the best.
The page that has the crepes on it. My dad made crepes a lot when we were kids, and I never remember my dad using a cookbook, but somewhere that must have happened because he made the crepes. But it has vanilla all over it, and yeah, you open it up like, oh yeah, I remember we got to fill our crepes with anything we wanted once we had the outer crepe to make the blanket.
What was your crepe filling of choice?
We had pear trees at our house when I was growing up, so I remember doing pears and berries and usually a fruit version. Yeah.
Any yogurt involved in that?
I don't remember any early yogurt involved in that. Yeah, I mean, definitely modern day, we could definitely add yogurt to crepe by all means. Yeah, the perfect little daub.
Well, speaking of yogurt, I don't want to turn this into a mutual family business admiration society meeting of some sort. But yeah, no, I have very similar memories as you do of joy of Nancy's yogurt in my mom's kitchen. I grew up with Nancy's, love it so much.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Yeah, I love the fact that legacy brands bring back those fond memories. And yeah, I feel that way when we do our recycling roundup. We collect our used containers locally here in Eugene from customers every 6 or 8 weeks. And sometimes somebody will bring some from their basement, and they're definitely 30, 40 years old. And I can't put them in the recycling. I'm like, oh, I need to take this one home.
Yeah.
And we're just going to save this one.
I'm sure they've been used as like food storage containers for many of those years.
Many, many of those years. Yep, absolutely. And it's always fun to see what people have written on, especially their 64-ounce tubs. It'll be like split pea soup crossed out, spaghetti sauce crossed out, meatballs crossed out. Yeah. So
That was kind of the question that I had for both of you guys leading into this is, you're both from these like legacy family businesses and kind of like specifically being in the Pacific Northwest. I just wonder how you, uphold the connection to your family, but also while reaching all of these other people across the country because you both do. And so I was just wondering like how you do that and how you continue to do that over the generations.
John's got a couple generations on me, which is like so admirable. Yeah, you're my inspiration, John.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, I think from where I sit, it's a huge honor. And I think that, when you're in the family and busy every day doing, making your yogurt or doing whatever you do, you kind of lose track of the fact that, what you do is so important to people. And when you stop and reflect on that, we're honored to be feeding people good food. That was my parents' goal from the very beginning. And my dad would always say, we're not making breakfast, we're making health food. And we're making this as health food. And that he did. But I think that you also have to recognize that, the core of, what your family started, your grandmother, your great grandmother, and my parents, nobody knows that path better than you or your family. And so, it's important to carry that on. Yeah, I mean, and the Pacific Northwest is such a great place to be. Really, all these companies that started in our area, in Oregon, in Eugene. Eugene is a wonderful natural food hub. So everybody grows and supports each other along the way. It's been great.
oh, you guys are looking at me like I'm supposed to have. The legacy part of it, I feel like, yeah, it's a big responsibility, and for that reason, I think that's one of the reasons why, like, you and I are both in a position where we're, maybe in a better position than a consultant or somebody else who's trying to take over or carry on a business. Just trying to keep true to those original values and feeling beholden to what your parents or grandparents have started. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you kind of started working on joy because of something that your grandmother wrote, which was that she hoped that her sons and their sons or their children would continue the tradition of joy of cooking, which is, I mean, I think you might assume for most family businesses, you may not ever hear like those words. Like, I expect you to continue my family business, but to actually hear those words or not hear
Or
them, but
read.
to read them coming from your grandmother was pretty powerful.
Yeah, it was very powerful. I mean, and my father Ethan had been vocally supportive of me going off and doing something else completely. He did not want me to feel trapped or beholden like I ended up feeling. But yeah, no, I mean, having that moment, yeah, that was definitely my come to joy moment, I guess is the way to put it. Cheryl, did you have a moment like that with the dairy?
I think what you described there is that, that previous generation, doesn't put that pressure on you. It's like, the world is big, make your choices. And I did other things before I came full time back into the creamery. And right now we're at, I'm a second generation. My three sons are there making the world go round, and which is wonderful. A couple of them did other things and then came back. And that's, they got other experience, and it's a big deal. So no, there was never that pressure. We never wrote him a letter to say, please stay at the creamery and keep your creamery boots on. I think a big piece of it is that we actually enjoy being together. We enjoyed, being with my parents, and my brother and I, my brother Kit is there at the creamery as well, and my brother and I enjoy being with my parents every day. And, I enjoy being with my kids every day and my brother. And if we go on vacation, we still go together, even though we see each other every single day.
How awesome is that to want to be with your fam?
It's often, it's great most days. Some days I'm saying, why are you all in my office?
Yeah. Could I get some space, please?
Yeah. But no, it's great.
Could you share just briefly for listeners a little bit about the history of Nancy's yogurt?
There is a rich history there. My parents founded Springfield Creamery in 1960. My dad's father, Fred Kesey, was a dairy manager and a dairyman, and he ran Eugene Farmers Creamery, which became Dairy Gold in Eugene. And so my memories as a child, I spent a lot of time at Dairy Gold with my grandfather. I guess my parents were busier than my grandfather, but I would go to work with him a lot. They made ice cream bars and ice cream sandwiches, and they would save me the broken chocolate outer cookies. I know.
The best.
And that is the best. But so there was definitely dairy history with my parents. They graduated from Oregon State, and my dad graduated in dairy technology. The first 10 years at the creamery were just serious bootstraps. Small creamery. My parents were fresh out of college. They had no money. They bottled milk in glass gallon jugs.
Wow.
And for other brands. I guess that was an early co-pack venture. And so the milk caps would be like a different company. And they, did little half pints of milk for their local schools, did delivery of glass milk, jugs of milk in the local Springfield area. Their cousins and their friends would come to work. Nancy came to work for us in...
I was going to ask, who's Nancy?
Yeah, in 1969, Nancy Van Brash Hamren. Yeah, she came as our bookkeeper. She had some yogurt making experience, and at that time, my parents had been bottling milk for about 10 years, and my dad would tell you, still to this day, he would tell you that bottling milk is boring. It's not creative. It's just, processing milk, putting a bottle and sending it off. And so he always had the desire to make a cultured probiotic product. So they tinkered around, and Nancy tinkered around with the recipe that she had crafted with her grandmother. My dad made sure that it had, lactobacillus acidophilus, and because he knew, all the research for people were that probiotics were good for people. Mm-hmm. So that was launched in 1970, the first yogurt in the country to have live probiotics. And they struggled along, and in 1972, they found themselves owing more money in taxes than they planned, and it was a fork in the road. That's when they reached out to the Grateful Dead and had the infamous concert.
What was the connection to the Grateful Dead?
That connection was my dad's brother, Ken Kesey, had a connection with them through music and art and writing and San Francisco and Haight-Ashbury. And
This is the Ken Kesey of the Merry Pranksters, just for listeners
this is,
who, yes, same
yeah.
person.
All my wonderful childhood adventure memories are with Ken.
I bet.
Yeah. And, he would be the one that would scoop up all the kids and take us, in the car to San Francisco for a long weekend. We had a great time. And, but yeah. And so the Grateful Dead were friends of my Uncle Ken's. And so there was the connection to be able to have that ask. And will you do a benefit concert for Springfield Creamery? And they said yes. And my parents put on this concert in 28 days in Veneta, and 20,000 people came. They remember they made about $13,000, $15,000, and which was enough to get them over the hump to continue to the creamery. And I mean, they always said that was the absolute finite fork in the road for them. Mm-hmm. Had that not happened, they would have closed the door of the creamery.
That's pretty incredible. And I read this book recently. It's called, I don't know if maybe you've seen it. It's called Free Food by Andrew Barton. He's a local writer. It's kind of half cookbook and half memoir, but he grew up in Eugene and had a little section of his book about Nancy's yogurt and specifically the Grateful Dead concert. Mm-hmm. And there were just a few things in here that I wanted to read because I thought they were so cool and interesting. But I guess he attributes these little factoids to the good old Grateful Dead cast. So a podcast specifically about the Grateful Dead. I think they're in this episode was in season 6. It's called Veneta part. Is it Veneta or Veneta?
Veneta.
Veneta part 1 and 2. But I guess he said the show was pretty much only advertised at natural food stores between Northern California and Seattle, which is amazing. Also, that Huey Lewis of Huey Lewis and the News was one of the first delivery drivers for Nancy's.
Mm-hmm. That's a true fact. Yeah. Huey was living in the Bay Area and was working with another fella, Gilbert, and they were distributing, I think, comic books. And they got in the natural food business or in the refrigerated business, and they would come up on Fridays in a U-Haul truck, that's all they had, and pick up their yogurt order, cover it with ice, cover it with those heavy blankets, and drive immediately back to the Bay Area, distribute the next morning or that night to the local natural food stores, which were few and far between. Mm-hmm. So that's how Nancy's made it to the Bay Area. And so there goes your expansion of your distribution. And yeah, and Huey's still a friend of ours. He sent us really nice notes when my parents died and with great little memories that he sent along. And he even said and confirmed in this last note that, yeah, he did a lot of writing of songs because he was playing at night, but he wasn't big yet, and Huey Lewis and the News wasn't a thing yet. But he said, yeah, he wrote quite a few songs on I-5, hauling yogurt in the back.
Yeah, I mean a lot of time to think. Yeah. I guess
a lot of time to think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, that the day of the concert was the hottest in Oregon history up until that point, of 108 degrees.
Yeah, I think it was like 104, 106. Yeah, very, very hot. Yeah, and definitely taking trucks to go get more water. Mm-hmm. My parents, being the yogurt makers and not concert producers, very novice. They built the stage with this whole crew of local volunteers that, brought timbers and people that knew what they were doing for, to build a stage. But they faced it west. And so as the sun was setting, on that very hot day, the sun was right in the eyes of the band. Oh. So there was a lot, if you listen to that or watch that show, there's a lot of banter about the sunstroke serenaders and how the guitars were out of tune because it was so warm.
Yeah.
I also love the tickets to the show were printed on yogurt labels.
Yeah. No, that was definitely, I told you my parents were creative. In those days, the yogurt container, there was like an 8-ounce yogurt container, and it didn't have print on it. And so our label was that square peel and stick label. And so you would crack it and you put them on by hand. And it was just that Nancy's Honey Yogurt label, one color. My parents didn't have any money to print tickets, and there was no time to print tickets. And so they just got a rubber stamp from the Springfield stationery shop and just printed Presents the Grateful Dead, August 27th. And so they just added a rubber stamp to each label. And so that was your ticket, and which was ingenious. And I think tickets were $3 in advance and $3.50 at the door.
That is just so wild to think about. I love how collaborative it was, and it sounds like just the entire natural foods scene at the time was just very, very collaborative, and just people really kind of following their bliss and doing all sorts of really cool things because that's what they were most interested in doing, and supporting each other in doing that.
No, it's very, and that happens over and over again. You're absolutely correct. Just the collaborative nature of the industry, and especially then, everything was very grassroots and nobody had any resources. And so everybody reached out when somebody needed help. And this event in 1972 was definitely one of those, full of volunteers. Yeah.
Do you think Nancy's Yogurt will put on any more concerts in the future?
That was always the magic question. My parents did a second decadal event in 1982 at the same site. And then when it came to be 92, my brother, who is also yogurt maker by day, he has a concert production business by night. So he's produced quite a few shows, including Grateful Dead and Dead and Company and all that. So we're leaving that to his wing of the business. But I mean, live music is delightful, and we're so fortunate to be able to have that still in our world and share that with our employees. My brother operates Cutthroat Amphitheater that the city owns in Eugene, and we have the opportunity to share the outdoor events with our employees and our friends, and it's a nice gift to be able to share live music.
We're big fans of Rombauer Vineyards. They're sponsoring today's episode, actually. But honestly, their wines are fantastic with so many Joy of Cooking dishes. My current favorite is their Sauvignon Blanc with our cow soy gai recipe. That bright, crisp wine cuts right through the richness of the curry. It's perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Being Oregonians, we take our Pinot seriously. We're excited about their new Pinot Noir, which pairs beautifully with our chicken jambalaya. The wine has enough body to stand up to all those bold Creole flavors.
If you want to try these pairings yourself, head to rombauer.com/joy or use code JOYPOD, all caps, for 15% off. That's ROMBAUER.com/joy or code JOYPOD, all caps.
Must be 21 to enjoy.
What is your personal favorite Nancy's product?
I am an organic low-fat cottage cheese eater through and through. And when our kids were three boys, when they were, middle school, high school age, it would always be like the joke at dinner. It's like, oh, you're eating cottage cheese again. Because I would put it on everything. And they couldn't even tolerate cottage cheese. And the irony is now all they do and all they think about all day long is cottage cheese and curd and whey and cream for the cottage cheese. And they eat a lot of cottage cheese. But that's always my mainstay, and I eat it every which. I'll take it in a mug in my car in the morning and put pumpkin seeds on it and a little bit of salt and pepper and maybe a couple berries even in that mix. So yeah, that's my go-to.
Have you tried? So I think I talked about this several episodes ago, but it's a TikTok recipe, but the one that actually worked out. You take a slice of toast, you toast it, then you top it with, you can just do plain cottage cheese, but you can also mix, you can mix shredded cheddar or scallions or chilies, whatever you want. And then you spread it over the toast, and then you broil that until the cottage cheese gets kind of brown. It is delicious.
I think we shared one of those on our social. Yeah, no, it's a funny color at the end, if I remember right. It kind of looks like a vanilla kind of odd color, but definitely a lot of cottage cheese creativity cottage cheese ice cream, cottage cheese pancakes.
Yeah, it's kind of had a moment recently, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely brought it right back. I mean, the cottage cheese and peaches and pears like your grandmother used to serve with dinner, that's all a thing of the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah, exactly. With a little iceberg lettuce bed it sat in. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, did you see any kind of spike in sales now that there are TikToks about cottage cheese?
Yes, everyone is making a lot of cottage cheese. There's a lot of demand for cottage cheese. It's right up there as one of our top sellers. Yeah, we've expanded our cottage cheese production and I continue to work to expand that as well. So yeah, it's a good problem. It's a good problem to have. Cottage cheese isn't a simple product to make. It's a time-consuming product and takes a lot of milk resources, but yeah, it's caught on.
Yeah, having tried making it at home, I much prefer to buy it from someone
Yeah.
who knows what they're doing.
Do trends like that, does it tempt you guys to kind of branch out into, new products or, like super premium cottage cheese or flavored cottage cheeses, or how does that work? Because I know you
No,
guys have definitely come out with some newer products over the years.
yeah, no, typically it would work just like that. So you would have, like, let's say Greek yogurt, you would have, a trend that is going to stick, and then you branch out and say, well, we're going to launch a lemon curd something. I mean, you branch out with flavors. And in our case, we have lots of great ideas and lots of innovative ideas. But in our case, we always have to go back to, can we make that? Do we have capacity for that? What's the nutritional level on that? Where are we at with sugars? And so, yeah, I mean, there's lots of opportunity for cottage cheese for sure.
I wanted to ask about a few years ago, John had to have a procedure at our local hospital, OHSU. And one of the things that they gave him first after his surgery was a little carton of yogurt, and it was Nancy's yogurt. And it said the label had something on it being specifically for like hospital use only, which I thought was so interesting. Can you talk a little bit about, I mean, because clearly like doctors are serving patients your yogurt specifically.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you got good care there, John.
Yeah, quick aside, the little tub of Nancy's was very comforting at that time.
Good. Yeah, a little bit of home, and yeah, our kefir and yogurt are being used in a lot of hospitals across the country as protocol for after surgery, or if you have antibiotics prescribed in the hospital. A lot of times that the protocol is that there'll be a Nancy's yogurt or a Nancy's kefir that's prescribed. That probably was the case with you, John, where maybe you got probably 4 ounces in the morning and 4 ounces at night. And that's, you want to talk about responsibility and feeling like we have a big responsibility to, make this authentic, good product because it goes into hospitals as well. And we're helping support their health.
What is it about Nancy's cultures, like the cultures in the yogurt? Because on the label, I believe it says something about billions of live culture, which billions with a B is a lot. Is it the diversity of cultures that are in the yogurt or the quantity? Like what makes it so special?
Yeah, and a combination thereof. And it's those probiotic cultures and the CFUs or the count, how high those probiotic strains have been able to grow. And so, and as well as the diversities. I mean, we have some really nice probiotic strains in our kefir and in our yogurts that have the clinical research behind them, and to support digestion, to support immune health. And that's all that, those are the pieces of support that you need when, people are sick. And so those are the things that have been recognized by medical folks. There's a doctor at Oregon Health Sciences, Dr. Robert Martindale, who has really championed the fact that probiotics in food are really important for you in the hospital and out of the hospital.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just out of curiosity about the mix of live cultures that are in Nancy's, how has that changed over? I mean, I imagine that you guys have added a ton in order to take advantage of these health benefits that you're talking about. But just as far as like Nancy's original recipe,
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious how often that happens.
No, that's a very good question. There's strains in there that start from the very beginning. And so, the acidophilus was the very first probiotic culture that my dad added to the yogurt, and we still use acidophilus today, and it's still a great strain. And you look at that, and there's many strains that are acidophilus, many strains of that. And we've had the opportunity to add probiotic strains as they become available and as good research becomes available on those strains. And so we feel very fortunate with the variety that we're able to offer. And we just added rhamnosus to the kefir recently, and
My personal favorite is the kefir.
yeah, and we because it had great research behind it, and we added the LA5, which is a acidophilus strain that has great research, or the BB12, it has a great research behind it. So we feel very, very fortunate to be able to send that out into the world.
Yeah, helping people. And that's very closely related to our question for the week. So each week we answer a caller question, and this week we're talking about cooking with yogurt.
My doctor suggested I add yogurt into my diet for more protein. I recently swapped it out for a recipe calling for sour cream. Do you have any recipe suggestions for using yogurt?
I feel like we
Why-
should let you take a stab at this first, and then we'll chime in.
Wise doctors everywhere. Yeah, no, that's great. Yogurt is such a great substitute for, in baking, and, it fits in there. If you're looking for the live probiotics and the protein, live probiotics don't like to survive that typical baking. And so you have to be aware of that. So you can definitely bake with it, but have a glass of kefir in the morning. Some of our favorites are not the baking version. Making dips out of, the Greek yogurt. We have a Greek yogurt dip that's on our website. There's speaking of cottage cheese, wearing new clothes all the time, there's a whipped cottage cheese lemon dip that we have.
Ooh.
Which is really nice that we have that recipe on our website. And a lot of times people will use cottage cheese, in lasagna. We have a recipe for that as well.
Oh, I remember my mom using, don't think it was lasagna, but I believe it was called spaghetti pie, but it was like a spaghetti in a pie dish, but it had like a cottage cheese layer.
Instead
I
of the
love.
ricotta. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't never actually know until I became an adult that lasagna actually called for ricotta, because my parents always used cottage cheese. Yeah. 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 Another one that is a fan favorite is there's a yogurt fettuccine, and it's a recipe that we love that came from Kathy Wims from Nasrana, and it's really an easy recipe, and it does cook that yogurt, but you're getting your protein in there.
And is that recipe also on your website?
It is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We have a lot of beautiful recipes on our website. So yeah, definitely check those out because they're fun.
I was going to say, we use yogurt all the time in sauces. There's just a kind of an embarrassment of delicious yogurt sauces that can be made. And I feel like most meals need a sauce of some kind. I think Sarah would agree. But we are always making like raita or tzatziki, or like we'll make a horseradish yogurt sauce with dill or salmon. We also sometimes will mix yogurt and mayo to make a ranch dressing. So all those herbs and garlic powder and all of that. But sauces, yogurt sauces are so easy. And you can also blend plain yogurt with lots of herbs and garlic and lemon and make a beautiful green sauce that goes well with chicken, fish, all kinds of stuff. So definitely leaning into the yogurt sauces, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, and definitely
sauces and dips are so lovely because you still have that fresh feel of yogurt, and you have still that yogurt tang. It's a great use.
Yeah, of course, gotta mention smoothies and mango lassi.
Yeah, mango lassi.
That's a wonderful way to consume more yogurt.
Yeah.
We are a non-mayo family, so we always have Nancy's yogurt in the fridge, and we use it like to sub in for any way people would normally use mayo. So like we make like chicken salad or tuna fish sandwiches or anything like that. We use it like that. But then also when you mention sauces, it's also kind of my trick. If I have a creamy sauce that breaks, I'll like stir in yogurt, and it'll kind of like bring it back together.
Yeah.
So that's like a trick.
There's also a dish that we make it's Turkish eggs, Chilber eggs. You basically just mix yogurt with a little bit of garlic, and then you poach some eggs and serve them on top of the garlicky yogurt, and then drizzle like a chili infused butter on top. So good. And then dill. It's just like it tastes like a very decadent breakfast. We make it for brunch on the weekend
Yeah, and
sometimes.
with like some freshly warmed flatbread to, try
So
to
lovely.
scoop it all up. So good.
Endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also I've made it a couple times, and we don't have a recipe for this in Joy, but there's a 2-ingredient flatbread recipe that you can probably find all over the internet, but it's literally just like flour and enough yogurt, like usually Greek
To give it
yogurt,
some moisture.
to bring it together into a dough, and then you just cook it on a griddle or however you want. But it's a super easy way to make bread, and I like that the yogurt kind of adds that little bit of fermented tanginess that you would normally get from yeast, but you don't have to wait for it to rise. So that's
Right.
kind of a cool trick.
Maybe that should be in the new edition along with Chilber eggs. That's definitely going in.
Yeah.
But 2-ingredient flatbread sounds like it would be hard to, leave out.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about an easy way to enhance your meals. Whether they are a healthy vegan grain bowl or that late night snack we'll pretend didn't happen the next day, and that easy way is Marshall's Hot Sauce. For 15 years, chef and cookbook author Sarah Marshall has been hand making and bottling these delicious sauces. She works directly with local farmers and highlights the lovely flavors of fresh seasonal produce. They're gluten-free, there are no additives, dyes, waxes, or binders, and they have mouth-watering combinations like serrano ginger lemongrass, or habanero carrot curry, or even whiskey smoked ghost, which was featured on Hot Ones. So head on over to marshallshotsauce.com, that's Marshall's, HAUTESAUCE.com, and see all the available sauces and spice blends. Oh, that's right. Sarah's created spice packets by dehydrating and freeze-drying actual produce, so you can impart flavor to your food with more vegetables. But that's a story for another day. Find all of these delicious creations at marshallshotsauce.com and enter HOTJOY, that's one word, capital H, AUTE, capital JOY, one word, at checkout for 20% off. That's HOTJOY at checkout for 20% off. And now, back to the show.
Greek yogurt is definitely one that people are reaching to for that protein and cottage cheese. And Greek yogurt lends itself so well to any sauces and any dips and eating straight out of the carton as well.
I'm going to try that the whipped cottage cheese recipe,
Yeah,
because
do.
I haven't done that. Is it in a food processor?
It is in a food processor.
Okay, cool.
And it's that's a very fresh recipe. If you whip a cottage cheese, you can doctor it up any which way.
Awesome. And on that note, our Joy Scouts recipe of the week is a yogurt related recipe, but it's our yogurt and honey panna cotta on page 821. It's a very easy recipe, and it's a panna cotta. Like, I don't know if you've ever had panna cotta, you know that sometimes it can be pretty gelatinous because it's set with gelatin. This recipe uses just enough to set it, so it's very soft and tender and creamy. You do not unmold it because it probably wouldn't hold together, but also that just makes it even easier. And we always serve it topped with berries or like a berry sauce. Or this time of year, I would just slice up some mandarin quartz or some other kind of citrus and put it on top. It's very delicious and very easy, sweetened with honey. And it has a combination of cream, and then you whisk in yogurt at the end, so you avoid cooking the yogurt in, because when you do cook yogurt, sometimes it will separate or break. But yeah, that's a new recipe for the 2019 edition. So if you make that recipe, again, it's on page 821. Please post about it and tag us at The Joy of Cooking on Instagram. We would love to see what you make. If you have a cooking question or joy story to share, call our hotline at 503-395-8858. Leave us a message or send us a text. We would love to hear from you. And next week's question comes from a friend of ours, Maggie. She says, I'm planning a trip to Brittany, Normandy, and Paris in the fall. Do you have any recommendations? And while I do not, because I haven't been to France in many years, our guest next week will have a lot more to offer. All right, what is everybody cooking this week?
I just got a new cookbook for Christmas called Salad Freak.
Fun.
And I'm very excited to make things from it because it has all different kinds of things you can make in the winter and lots of citrus salads. So I'm going to be like doing some stuff from that.
Love a citrus
And especially
salad.
after I go on vacation, I only want to eat vegetables.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't eat a lot while I'm gone. So I'm going to dig into some veggies.
Well, we are starting to gear up for the 100th anniversary revision of Joy of Cooking. And we're starting with the soup chapter, I think just because it's cold right now and we just wanted to make soup. So we're testing a lot of soup recipes. And I think next I have my eye on the salmon chowder, which is a great recipe already, but there's a few tweaks we want to make to it. Like we want to increase the butter a little bit. It calls for vermouth, and we want to give an option for people who don't have that or don't want to use vermouth. And then also we have to add a new head note to it because in the past it calls for fresh salmon fillets, but we've made it with hot smoked salmon from the Oregon coast, and it is fabulous with the hot smoked salmon. And then with croutons made from everything bagels, so good. So kind of like a bagel salmon situation with lots of dill and maybe some capers on top. So yeah, just lots of thinking about how we can gussy up our soup recipes a little bit. What are you cooking this week, Sheryl?
Well, this week I bought some pearl couscous, and there's a salad that my sister-in-law Ginger kind of reverse engineered this fall, and I had it at a shower, an event that she had hosted, and we're like, we all need the recipe for this salad. She said, well, I just kind of made it up because I had it at a restaurant, but I've made it a good handful of times, and so I just restocked my couscous, and so I think it's a beautiful vegetable browned couscous with kind of a light lemon dressing on it. And so, yeah, we're going to be home this weekend, and so I'm going to gear up for that.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
And before we wrap, where can listeners follow you?
Listeners can follow us at Nancy's Yogurt on Instagram and Facebook, and we're even on TikTok with doing crazy cottage cheese
Amazing.
things. Check out our website at nancysyogurt.com, and you can see a little bit of our history story and grab some recipes.
Thanks for listening to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by subscribing to the show and leaving us a review. Follow us at joyofcooking.substack.com and on Instagram at thejoyofcooking. Stay tuned for next week where we'll talk about French food, and don't forget to make this week's recipe, yogurt and honey panna cotta, on page 821. Call in with questions, hopes, history, or where you find joy in the kitchen. Our number is 503-395-8858. That's 503-395-8858.
We could not do this without our fantastic team at Joy of Creation Production House. Thanks to today's producer, Dirk Marshall, and our audio engineer, Haley Bowers. If you love the stories we bring you each week, please consider supporting us on Patreon. As an independent media company, your support is absolutely essential. It allows us to continue creating high-quality professional episodes that amplify the voices of women, small business owners, writers, artists, and creatives, and keep their stories free from commercial pressure. By becoming a Patreon member, you're not just supporting us, you're investing in the future of independent media. Please visit patreon.com/thejoy of creation production house to join our community today. Thank you for listening and supporting our podcast dreams.